No two kids with autism are the same. When they say autism spectrum, think of autism as a tree. And a tree has different branches. The whole tree is considered autism spectrum, but it branches off into different directions. But today I wanted to show you one branch of that tree so you have an idea of what autism can look like in a different scenario. Not my scenario. Ramsey is a little more relaxed, mild, but let's take a look at these parents, their scenario, so you have an idea what special need parents deal with. Let's get into the video, shall we?
There are families up and down the country struggling to cope with their violent autistic children.
Cam, shall I go and get your chocolate biscuits?
Stop that noise!
Are they in your room?
Stop that noise!
Autism is often a hidden disability which affects around 120,000 young people in England.
I'm scared of him because you live on a knife edge because you don't know what's coming next, and that level of sort of heightened adrenaline, definitely experienced split lips, bruising all over.
We go inside the homes of two families struggling to cope with their disabled children for a glimpse of what life is like and the challenges they face.
Very rarely the day goes by where either myself, my wife, or one of our children isn't hurt in some way by Elliot, our son.
More physical. Okay, Cam. Okay.
And rarely do we
Stop.
see or hear from
Stop.
parents about the realities of life for them and their children. But these families have invited us into their homes in the hope of raising awareness about a lack of help and support.
If he carries on
Mum.
in the way that he is, you know, he's obviously very hard to deal with.
Campaigners say some local authorities are failing to provide services that meet the needs of families and their children.
The system is not working at the moment for all autistic children, and that's an issue.
That is true. I have been telling parents that the system is not working. And I've done a video before where they have shown that the mom says she doesn't want to do it anymore because they're over the age of 60 and they still don't know what's going to happen with their kid because there's no place that has an opening for their child to go to. So you as a special need parent now are just stuck with not knowing what is going to happen to your child. That's why as a special need mom, I've decided to invest for my special needs son. I am a bit of a stock market kind of, I just make sure he's well invested in the stock market because I know that money is going to help pay for his living expenses when he gets older, because with these kids, their mood changes, their behavior changes, they change. You don't know what you're going to get when they get older. That's why it's important to be on the now comp list and to have some investment security for your child, that if you need to go out of pocket, you can cover that buffer. So let's keep on going. I just wanted you guys to know that. Oh, hold on.
It's terrifying really sometimes, because if it comes out of nowhere, there's always that bit of you that can't quite believe it's actually happening. So it's just a case of desperately trying to extricate yourself from that situation that you're in, which is easier said than done, if particularly if he's got me by the neck, which he often does.
I told you guys about the story before about when we were at the airport and Ramsey grabbed me by the neck and he won't let go. He kept choking me. When these meltdown happens, we as special need parent have no idea when, what, or how. It just happens. The meltdown just happened. and we can't time it. Sometimes we know when it's gonna happen because we can hear the high pitch in their voice or the humming or they'll give us some kind of sign, but by then it's too late. And I've took my son to the autism center and see the therapist stand there or the support team in football gear, the football helmet, from the whole football gear. At first I was scared because I didn't understand why they had on football gear. But one of the assistants told me that it was so bad that one time she went to get some groceries and the lady at the checkout told her, blink twice if you need help, because of the bruises on her arms and legs. And those weren't from a family member or an abusive spouse. That was from the kids at the autism center. So to protect themselves, because the kids have violent behavior, some of them. Autism come in different stages, phases, and it's just different for each child, and each parent goes through it differently. I feel so sorry for these parents, but we can't do nothing about it. There's not enough help out there for special need kids, and especially when it gets so severe. The only way you'll get help is if you're hospitalized as a parent, which is just sad. But just let's keep going.
Every day is a challenge for Ian and Lucy. Their eldest son, Elliot, has severe autism and learning difficulties. Social interaction and communicating is difficult, and they say dealing with his condition, which requires constant care, is pushing them to breaking point.
He's the size of a very large, very strong 12-year-old, and that's the difference. If it was a toddler having a huge tantrum and flailing around and, scratching you and kicking you, you can manage it better simply because they're so much smaller. Whereas if you think of when Elliot does it, it's basically like a small man suddenly attacking you.
What you guys need to understand also, when she said he's a very large 12-year-old, my son all of a sudden took one growth spurt, and that's because of the medication. One of the side effects of the medication is that they'll make your child eat, and it's like I have to physically be like, no, that's it. And now he can help himself, so you'll probably be doing one thing. He already made his way to the refrigerator, to the snack pantry, and then, or sometimes just sit right in front of it and eat. It's like it opens up a appetite out of this world for them. And if you as parent don't keep it in check, they'll just eat everything in sight. But once they on the medication, they become very big.
Not everyone with autism is violent though. A US study of nearly 1,400 children on the autistic spectrum found more than half were aggressive or violent towards their families. Elliot is 12 and has the strength of an adult, but thinks like a 2-year-old. His parents say a lack of specialist help from their local council has caused his behaviour to become increasingly difficult to deal with.
We've been living with Elliot being violent and aggressive most of his life. That probably first started encountering things like that when he was about 5 or 6 or so. I think we probably started. And the difficulty has been as he's got older and as he's got bigger and he's got stronger, he's still only violent for maybe 5% of the time. But the consequences of that violence are getting worse and worse. And, whilst he's only 12 years old, he's the size of a 15-year-old. It's a law of averages that one day one of us is going to get really badly hurt.
These scars are just a glimpse of what Ian and Lucy have had to endure when Elliot has a violent episode.
Definitely experienced split lips, bruising all over. Ian's had a scratched cornea from a punch. He's knocked me down the stairs before, and I've just managed to hang on to the banister rail so that I've not gone the whole way down the stairs. But there's a severe injury waiting to happen, we know that. And the problem is that the help available to you is reactive rather than proactive. You have to get to absolute crisis point when one of you is hospitalised or you've had to call the police out.
I told you guys, it's true. The only way you can get crisis center to help you is if almost somebody needs to be hospitalized. You don't have a choice but to be like, look, either you gonna help me or we gonna be staying in this hospital. Like, and it should not be like that. There should be more in place for kids, for parents who deal with this level of special need, because this is the extreme level.
This is why Ian and Lucy have spoken out. They say they are living in an almost permanent state of worry, so much so they've had to take measures to protect not just Elliot, but also their other children.
So this is Elliot's room, and you can see it's not like a room that most 12-year-olds would have, that we've made quite a few adjustments. The most obvious are the bars that we have to have across the windows. You kind of get used to that, you know, your child's bedroom looks more like a cell of some kind. And it's only when you stop and step back and really reflect on it and you go, what a symbol of just how different our life is. Most people do not have to set their child's bedroom up with locks on the doors and bars across the window, but there are times when, in order to keep Elliot safe and in order to keep the rest of the family safe, that's what we have to set up.
Yeah, guys, I know it's shocking for some people, but this is it. This is what some special need parents' life look like. And it might be hard for you to imagine. That's why when they say your child is on the autism spectrum, some might be mild, like Ramsey, where you don't have that much of physical restraint going on, and then you have extreme cases like this where people actually live like this. Now put yourself in these parents' shoes. Could you live like this? I'm dying to know your response in the comment.
This family story is not a one-off. We've been speaking to many parents across the country, and they repeatedly tell us that there is simply not enough support available for their children, some of whom are also very violent.
"19-year-old Cameron is one of 700,000 people in the UK on the autism spectrum. He was diagnosed with the condition at the age of 3.
I'm going to go and do your telly. I'm just talking to Noel.
Leave, please!
Stop.
Leave, please! Don't stop. It scares me.
I mean, it can be quite dangerous for you being on your own as Cameron.
Well, yeah, if you weren't here, obviously I would just go and do it. And if the girls were here, I would do it to stop this. Because it's not nice for the girls to see, and it will probably escalate into more. Cam, stop.
Go up, please.
I will.
Go up now.
Okay.
Don't speak to them.
Stop.
Don't speak to them.
Okay.
Go on, Mum.
Okay.
Go.
And as you can see, he's
not
edging
again.
towards me.
Hannah and Doug have devoted their life to caring for Cameron, but due to his condition, his needs have become increasingly challenging, and his anxiety and stress can sometimes lead to full-scale tantrums.
Do you see how he was edging up to the mom? So as a special need parent, your instinct is always on standby for defense mode, because you don't know what that reaction might hold. It can be that he doesn't do anything, but it could also mean that he starts going the other route, which is full blowout meltdown. And that's why I'm going to keep saying it. The Now Comp waiver. Guys, do your research on the Now Comp waiver so you know what it means to have one, or have some financial something set aside that you might have to pay out of pocket for somewhere that this child has to live, because when it comes to the state, they don't have a lot of facilities. So you might have to put this child into a private facility. And I am prepared for that. That's one thing I took into consideration, because how long can you as a parent do this if the child is towering over you? I'm 5 feet. I think in another year, Ramsey will be taller than me. Imagine Ramsey having a meltdown. He'll knock me the heck out. Like, seriously. But let me not interrupt.
It's really upsetting. This is horrible, because I love him so much. And yeah, I don't want people to be scared of him, because he's, you know, his nature is gentle, and he's not meaning to be the way he is at all. And I feel sorry for him because he's frustrated and he can't tell me why or tell other people why. So it's horrible. It's sad, really sad.
How much?
This is another thing that is the flip side of the coin. These kids are the most affectionate, kind, loving kids in actuality. My son wakes up and the first thing he wants to do is cuddle, breathe in your face, play with your hair. That's how he is. When he has a meltdown, he's a total different human being. He's not that same kid. But that's not because he wants to. He can't help it. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know he's just reacting out of frustration, and he can't tell you why he's frustrated. In my case, he's nonverbal. In her son's case, he might not know how to explain it. And you don't want anybody else out there to get the wrong idea that, oh, this is a violent person, just be scared, warning. No, you want them to know that, yes, he has these meltdowns, but on the inside, there are really nice, kind, loving people.
How much longer do you think you can continue to cope with Cameron's behaviour?
We'll do it for as long as we have to, but it's going to become, well, it already is unmanageable sometimes. But I don't know, because I don't know, how he'll become as he gets into his early 20s. It could become worse. But really, we need to we are thinking about, him living elsewhere, because we can't manage his behaviour, because it is unpredictable, and physically, I can't manage him by myself.
So do you think a parent like this might be wrong for wanting to put her son in a different facility for her safety, her other kids' safety, and for his safety? There are people out here on the internet, YouTube, who judge parents like me or this mom who wants to have their kids in a safe environment when they're an adult, because the child will be bigger than us, and if they have a meltdown, that could cause us a split lip, a busted eye, you guys have no idea what a meltdown is. Ask a special need parent. But would you judge this parent? Would you judge this mom for thinking like this? She doesn't have a choice. Please leave your comment in the comment section. I am dying to know.
I mean, as you can see, he's tall, facial hair. He's like a man, but he's like a baby, really. Okay, yeah.
Not doing that again.
He doesn't have the understanding. He doesn't understand why you guys are here. And also it's out of his routine, isn't it? So, yes, Cam.
Who's that?
No.
Almost anything can trigger an outburst from Cameron. Surrey Council, who are responsible for his care, have told us they are working hard with his family to provide additional respite and day support.
I don't want him to go anywhere that I'm not happy about.
Right.
So I don't know how long that will take, but if he carries on in the way that he is, he's obviously very hard to deal with. It's going to be really difficult.
Excuse me.
Yes, Cam.
No.
It's important to get the point across that this is not Cameron being unruly. This is his condition.
Oh,
this
no,
is what it
absolutely,
does to him.
absolutely.
This is autism.
Yeah, this is autism.
I can't see you.
Sometimes it seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel in regards to the support and direction of where you're going to go, because we don't, it's hard for us, and we don't know how Cameron's going to be, we don't know how the children are going to be, we don't know how planning for the future and planning for what's going to happen is just been, the last 6 years, 7 years of just no direction at all.
Stop doing to that eyes.
See? And you don't know how these kids are going to be 5-6 years from now, because with autism, our kids change like season. They change every month. Every other month, they change. And you don't know what their behavior is going to be. So it's kind of hard to make steadfast planning, but it's always good to have something in place. That's why I'm like, I'm trying to get my hands on any help I can get. I make sure everything he needs is in place, that when it's time to make a move, I'm not that locked into one position and have to wiggle myself out, because it is hard out here for special need parents. It is hard. And why would I want to burden my special need child? Look at this boy's behavior, for example, Cameron. What would it be fair for the mom to leave him in care of his brothers and sisters if they are no more, that he needs to go live with them? Or would it be better for them to make sure he's in a facility? They can visit, they can do things with him, but should they be burdened with the care of their brother as full-time caregiver in their homes? Would that be fair? Please leave it in the comment.
This woman, who we're calling Sam, knows just how Hannah and Doug feel.
He hit me over the head with a plastic object, and I had to have my head glued. I thought at that point it'd be a turning point, but it wasn't. I thought I'd get help, but it didn't really happen.
We've agreed not to identify her in order to protect her teenage son, who is now in the care of social services.
First I got a bit of help, but then it went monthly, and then it was, right, okay, we'll wash our hands of you. You can have 48 hours a year respite from your charity. And 48 hours a year doesn't add up so much, does it?
Her son was taken into care following a violent incident in a family home in 2011.
Yeah, so this is one route that this mom had to take. She had to put him in the care of the state. You can't blame her.
Scene appeared to back up her claims that she had asked for help on a number of occasions. This letter from her GP to Children's Services reads, "Family struggling to cope with child's behaviour." He goes on to say, "Mother desperate for help."
I had cried and cried for help. I was absolutely exhausted, but more so my family was failed. My children didn't get attention, or I tried to give them attention, but there's a limit to what you can do. And my son was certainly failed, absolutely.
So why are parents like Sam and other families not getting the crucial support and services they need?
In inpatient care, some of them are still...
I've come to the National Autistic Society, which helps thousands of people with autism across the country.
If children are not having their needs met, then they are being failed, and we have to try and work to change that system. We need a special educational needs and disability system that identifies all the needs of autistic children that are out there, and then puts in place the support and the services to allow them to live the life that they and their families want to live.
In a recent report, the charity found families of autistic people in inpatient and residential care being failed due to a lack of trained staff.
We interviewed 13 families who had experiences of having relatives who were in inpatient care across both children, young people and adults, and basically we've incorporated what we found from them and what the lessons that can be learnt from that in this report. And what it's really painted is a really stark picture of the fact that the system just isn't working at the moment.
Cameron has recently started at a specialist day centre, but Mom Hannah tells me she's worried about the future.
I do feel guilty all the time. I feel guilty to Cameron, I feel guilty to my daughters. Yeah, I do sometimes feel like I'm not equipped for all of it, but I don't really have a choice. I have to do it. But yeah, guilt plays a massive part of every...
She made a key point, guilt. And that's the reason why I decided not to have any more kids. There are family members that always get on me, like, why would you make him an only child? Why would you not have him have siblings? Where are they when you need help? Where are they when the meltdowns come? Where are they when there's poop smeared all over and you need to bleach down your house, or your TV is drenched in water, your countertop, or he just flooded the bathroom, and you need to fix your neighbor's house because your special needs son flooded your bathroom. Where are these people that keep telling you all these things but are never there to help, send a helping hand? Why would I put another kid in this situation, bring another kid in this world, knowing I can't give them that affection, love, and attention because this kid takes all of me? Why would I do that to another kid? So don't judge special need parents when they say they don't want to have other kids. Because look at these parents on the screen. They can't give to the other kids because this kid takes it all. Where are these people?
Every day, coping with, a child with disabilities, I think.
For Ian and Lucy, they are determined not to give up. I've returned to find out how they are coping with Elliot.
We've definitely had moments when, we've gone to bed sobbing and just despairing at, how is this our life and things, but you can't wallow in it too long because you've got exactly the same life the next day and you've got to be up and you've got to be with it, and, it's difficult because there's no blame you can attach to Elliot, there's nothing fundamentally different you can do, so you're just carrying on and hoping to try and learn the lessons from whatever precipitated that particular bout of aggression to try and reduce it or avoid it next time.
The Autism Act, which was introduced in 2009, is currently being reviewed by politicians, but laws on their own only form a part of the solution. As for Cameron and Elliot, their parents are their real lifeline. They may face abuse daily, but they don't want their children to be misunderstood. All they're asking for is more support.
And the conclusion is, yes, we're going through a lot. Yes, we might be overwhelmed and frustrated, but we can't wallow in it. At the end of the day, you can cry today, be upset, have meltdowns because why you? But when you wake up tomorrow, that autistic child is still laying in that bed, sitting in that couch, looking at you for help because you're their lifeline. That's why I always tell special need parents who contact me, it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel why me. Hell, you're gonna go to why me for a long time. But guess what? You can't wallow in it. You have to get up and do something because you are their lifeline. That's it for today's video, and I'll catch you in the next. Bye.